If deep squatting actually destroyed your knees after 60, then why do millions of seniors worldwide do it every single day? Pain-free? That question might feel uncomfortable, maybe even frustrating. But stay with it, because what you've been told about aging and movement is incomplete, and in many cases completely wrong. For decades, people of the United States have been warned not to squat too low, not to bend their knees too much, and to avoid certain movements simply because of their age. We've been encouraged to replace movement with caution, strength with stillness, and independence with dependence. But here's the truth you rarely hear. Your body isn't broken. It has just been forgotten. It is a common sight to see people in their 70s, 80s, and even 90s in deep squats like it is the most natural resting position in the world. It is a common enough sight when traveling in countries like Vietnam, Japan, and Thailand. And no, it is not because they have better genetics. It is because their bodies never stopped practicing the movement. Ours did. Even past 60, your nervous system can still learn. It just needs a reason to. And deep squatting isn't about flexibility or strength. It is about coordination and control. It is about restoring a fundamental movement pattern your body was designed for, but hasn't used in years. In today's video, I am going to show you exactly how to reclaim that ability step by step. No gimmicks, no miracle promises, just real science, real experiences, and a method that works. First of all, leave a comment below and let me know the last time you tried a squat. And let me just warn you, if your answer is 1982, I'm going to give you a hard time. Now, let's get started. Before you give up on your knees, your back, or your age, you need to understand what is actually happening. The real reason most older adults struggle with squatting isn't age, it is disuse. Somewhere along the way, we stopped asking our bodies to do the movements they were built for. We replaced floor, sitting with recliners, active motion with desk posture, and now we're shocked that squatting feels impossible. So here is the hopeful part. When you try to squat, even a little, your body has to coordinate several major muscle groups simultaneously. Your glutes shift your hips back. Your quads control how you lower. Your hamstrings stabilize the legs. Your hip flexors assist the motion. Your core keeps your torso upright and balanced. And if any one of those areas is weak, tight, or untrained, your body starts compensating. Your heels lift, your knees wobble, and you lean backward, and your brain interprets all that as danger. So what does the majority do? They stop trying. They avoid squatting altogether. And that is how the myth gets created. The myth that older adults cannot squat. But the truth is so much simpler. Your body isn't damaged. It is untrained. This isn't an issue of flexibility. This is an issue of neuromuscular control. Yes, even after 60, your brain and body can become stronger, more coordinated, and more mobile. They are absolutely capable of improvement, but only if you give them the opportunity. Your nervous system doesn't shut down with age. It just stops getting updated when you stop challenging it. The good news is that this connection can be rebuilt gradually, safely, and consistently. With the right guidance, you can retrain your body to move the way it once did. Not like an athlete, but like a confident, independent adult who refuses to let fear of injury decide what is possible. So let me ask you this. What if the squat isn't the enemy, but the invitation? An invitation to rebuild your strength, your balance, and your trust in your own body. Now, let's dive into something inspiring. I have worked with older adults for over 25 years, and there is one lesson I've learned over and over again. Progress doesn't care about your age. It only cares about how consistent you are. You don't need perfect health history. You don't need extraordinary flexibility. You just need to let go of the belief that you are too old to improve. So let me share 3 stories that prove what is possible. Here is the first. Story number 1, the outsider who became the example. When he retired at 68, this Japanese-American man moved to Vietnam. Instantly, he found himself surrounded by people in their 70s and 80s who could drop into a deep squat effortlessly, chatting, cooking, relaxing as if it were the most natural thing in the world. But for him, it wasn't natural at all. Even in his younger years, he had never been able to sit that way. His hips felt locked, his back rounded. He needed to brace himself with his arms just to avoid falling backward. Still, instead of accepting defeat, he asked for guidance. 6 months later, he sent me a photo. There he was, sitting in a full squat with his hands resting gently on his knees, smiling like he had just discovered a new superpower. Story number 2 is about a woman whose recliner almost became her limitation, until she refused to let it. She was 70 and told me she couldn't get up from her chair without pushing hard on the armrests. Her legs trembled at the thought of squatting. The first time she attempted a supported squat, she moved barely 2 inches, but she tried again the next week. And the week after that, one day she casually told me, "I went all the way down today." She couldn't stay low for long, and it wasn't a perfect squat. But that moment changed everything. She crossed a line she once believed she would never reach. Story number 3 is about a 79-year-old woman who started lifting like she was decades younger. She had spent most of her life avoiding difficult movements. Then one day she watched a video about squatting and decided to try. Slow, clumsy, hesitant, but she tried. 18 months later, she says, "Oh, by the way, I'm squatting with 31 pounds on my back now." No bragging, just stating a fact. The most inspiring part is that she didn't start strong. She became strong. These individuals aren't superhuman. They are ordinary older adults who simply chose to stop believing the old story that said, "You are too old for this." Maybe that is the story you have been told too. If so, this could be the moment when everything starts to change. Now, let's talk about the one thing that most people never even consider. We've got another myth to shatter. You do not have to lose mobility after 60. More often than not, it isn't aging. It is actually forgetting your body, especially your nervous system, has an incredible capacity called neuroplasticity. In other words, it can adapt, relearn, and rewire itself well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. A deep squat is not a young person's trick. It is not some sort of genetic advantage. It is a basic fundamental human posture that existed for as long as humans have existed. Before chairs became the norm, people all over the world squatted to cook, rest, eat, wait, socialize, and yes, to use the bathroom. Children do it without thinking. And you most likely did too before modern life erased the pattern over the course of time. Here is what actually happens with time. Your joints lose range because they aren't taken through their full motion. Your muscles lose coordination because they no longer work together. And your brain loses confidence in positions it doesn't recognize. That is not aging. That is conditioning. And the good news is that conditioning can be undone. When we cease to place our hips, knees, and ankles into deeper positions, tissues stiffen. The nervous system begins to fire off warning signals. Movements of squatting start to feel stiff and awkward, and even sometimes terrifying. But with gentle, repeated exposure, those same tissues regain strength and flexibility. The nervous system learns the movement is safe again. It is like dusting off a skill your body once knew, but hasn't practiced in years. And most importantly, you don't have to perform a perfect squat. You don't need to effortlessly drop down like a gymnast. All you do need is functional control, the ability to move confidently without fear. That is why so many older adults around the world, from farmers in remote villages to elders in busy cities, can squat comfortably well into their 80s. It is not because they spend hours stretching. It is because their daily life continues reinforcing the movement. In the US, our lifestyle does just the opposite. We sit often, we move less, and gradually our bodies forget how to move freely. But now that you know the science behind it, you can rewrite the story. You can retrain your nervous system to trust the squat again, not through force or pain, but instead through awareness, small wins, and smart repetition. So let's look at how to rebuild this movement step by step. Now that you understand how the body relearns old patterns, it is time to put that knowledge into action. Here are 3 simple yet powerful exercises I use with older adults every week. These movements are designed to restore control, rebuild strength, and wake up the exact muscles and joints you need for a stable, comfortable squat. Exercise 1. The bent knee hamstring and glute stretch. A lot of seniors try to stretch with straight legs, but when it comes to preparing for squatting, that actually works against you. Instead, soften your knees slightly and push your hips back while keeping your spine long. Let your heels lift a little and hold on to a counter or sturdy chair for balance. This focuses on the upper hamstrings and glutes, areas that need to lengthen to help you lower yourself without tipping backward. Hold the stretch for 30 seconds once or twice daily. Exercise 2. The assisted front, loaded squat. Stand with your body facing a sink, countertop, or firm table and hold on for support. Lower yourself slowly, as if you are about to sit in a chair, but keep your weight slightly forward on the balls of your feet without letting it transfer onto your heels. Only go as low as you feel stable. Even a few inches is good in the beginning. Pause at the bottom, then rise again. This helps retrain your quads to work in the right alignment and reduces the instinct to fall backward. Start with 6 to 8 repetitions, 2 or 3 times per week. Exercise 3. The seated hip flexor lift. Sit tall on a sturdy chair and lift one knee as high as you comfortably can without leaning backward. This engages your hip flexors, small, but vital muscles that assist in keeping your torso upright during deep squatting. You can add a light ankle weight or gently press on your knee to increase resistance. Aim for 10 lifts per leg every other day. Each exercise strengthens a different piece of the puzzle: flexibility, stability, and control. Combined, they reintroduce your body to a position it was designed to use, but hasn't in years. Next, let's discuss who should be careful and how to safely adapt this exercise if needed. Before starting any of these exercises, remember that not everyone should dive right into squatting, and that is okay. If you've had a hip or knee replacement recently, or have advanced arthritis, significant spinal stenosis, or serious balance problems, get a green light from your doctor or physical therapist first. And if you have sharp pain, not typical stiffness or mild discomfort with any movement, know your body is telling you, not yet. That doesn't mean that there isn't any room for progress. It just means your starting point may look different, and that keeping your body safe should always come before challenging it. Improvement is about protecting what matters most, not proving something. Your independence, your confidence, and your quality of life. Move at a pace that feels right for you. Listen to what your body tells you. Ask for help when you need it. That is not a weak thing. That is just smart. So where does that leave you? If you are still watching, take a second to appreciate something important. You've already started taking back something powerful. Trust in your own body. Too many people spend their entire lives thinking that deep squatting or moving freely or getting stronger is only for the young. They accept tightness as normal. They accept weakness as unavoidable. They shrink their world not because their body can't adapt, but because someone once convinced them they shouldn't even try. But today, you heard differently. You learned that the body doesn't stop learning at 60. You saw what is possible through real stories, not from athletes, but from everyday people just like yourself. And you discovered that the secret isn't youth. It is not youth that unlocks movement again, but it is consistency, control, and the will to start right where you are. Here is your challenge. Don't let this video be something you only watched. Let it become the spark that starts your change. Give the stretch a try. Hold your balance. Do the daily squat check. And even if it is only a few inches, even if you hold it for just 10 seconds, that still counts. Every little bit sends a signal to your nervous system. I am learning again. If this video gave you even a moment of hope, just one thought that whispered, maybe I can do this, then I want to hear from you. Drop a comment. Tell me what surprised you most. Or better yet, tell me the last time you actually attempted a squat. Bonus points if it happened before this century. If you know someone who needs this message, someone who has quietly accepted limits that were never meant to define them, share this with them. Strength after 60 isn't just possible. It's waiting for you to claim it. Because here's the truth. The journey you've started today is leading somewhere you might not expect. And that is the part nobody talks about. But I am going to show it to you in the following chapter. That moment in time when your body gives you a sign, a subtle shift that tells you everything is about to change. Are you ready for that?